So this week, we're talking about Star Wars. We got the new film coming out, so it's perfect timing for us to talk about Star Wars-related 80s news.
Yeah, something that we know actually stuff about, which is good.
And admittedly, I'm crowbarring it as 80s news, but there were two films in the 80s, and we grew up in the 80s, and these films had a major impact on us in the 80s.
Yeah, because we saw most of them in the 80s too, you know?
Yeah. And so the films are drawing to a conclusion very soon. So a bunch of, just next week, so a bunch of news related to the new film and old films has been coming out, and so that's what I wanted to cover on Star Wars / 80s news.
Let's do it.
Okay, so first thing is, I know you're not caught up on The Mandalorian, so I'm not going to ruin it for you or anybody. I will just say this. This week's episode 5, is the most fan servicey one so far, which I know that fan service usually has a negative connotation.
Usually, yes.
Like, I know you don't like, and we both had the same problem with Solo.
Yeah, they crowbarred stuff in there, and I didn't like that about that movie. But so far, The Mandalorian has done a great job of storytelling, so I'm not going to worry about it too much.
Yes, and in that sense, that stuff that's revealed in episode 5, it's not related to plot so much as that it seemed more organic, and it's part of the larger, better storytelling, so I don't have a problem with it. Me neither.
But more importantly, every time you watch the episode, you have to now sing, Baby Yoda, do-do-do-do-do, Baby Yoda, do-do-do-do-do.
Now I have to sing Baby Shark to get that one out of my head. Yeah, and I just got Baby Shark out of my head.
Well, now you got this one to sing every day for the rest of the month now.
At least he's cute. I know you what?
Yeah.
Okay.
We could have less cute and more... We could have less
more
cute
murder.
And more murder. Yeah, that would be better, but...
Get on that. Less cute and more murder. Okay, so I won't say anything. Maybe we can talk about this in the future, because there's so many cool references to the original trilogy. Okay, so the next bit of news I wanted to say or touch base with you on, I'm going to play you an audio bit and see if you know what this is.
McClunky.
All right, get your dump button ready, because I can translate that for you.
Okay.
That means you.
And okay. I'm going to dispute that a little bit, maybe. Okay. But where's it from?
That is from the Greedo and Han scene in Mos Eisley Cantina, where Greedo decides he wants to take Han in.
Right.
So George, who is a genius, and he does like to toy with this scene a lot, so
yes,
he added another part to it.
He has it. Come on. So this will be, I think it's a third or fourth change. So we had the original. I guess if you include the original, it's like the fourth change. In the original, Han shoots first. Were you traumatized by Han shooting first as a child?
No, it made perfect sense to me.
Did you think Han is a bad guy, therefore I can't look at him as a hero? He's a cold-blooded murderer?
No, I saw him as a bad boy smuggler type.
Yeah.
And you have to have that as part of your entourage when you're saving the universe.
When I was a kid, I wanted to be Han Solo.
Everyone wanted to be Han Solo.
Well, in my group of friends, I think it was my blonde friend would be Luke when we would role play, you know.
Yeah.
And I had brown hair, so I'd be Han Solo. But I wanted to be Han Solo.
I have blonde hair, and I would be Han Solo.
Yeah. Luke was a little whiny, you know, more immature, and like you said, Han was a badass.
Right.
So it seems like George has only tweaked this, though, because he felt like he didn't want to... He wanted him to be a more sort of cleaner, you know, white hat type hero and not... what do they call anti-hero, I suppose.
Yes, the more lovable, huggable anti-hero as opposed to Wolverine or Deadpool.
But
kind of
people love those characters too. I mean, no one was complaining.
Well,
okay, we're going off on a tangent. You know I have issues with George Lucas. But in any case, so we had the original version where Han shot first, and then later he changed it for the special edition where then he makes Greedo shoot first. That was in 1997. And then he changed it again in 2004 where they shoot almost simultaneously.
Yeah.
So savvy-eyed viewers and fans of Star Wars, when they tuned in to watch A New Hope on Disney Plus, which just went live a couple of weeks ago, found that he had changed it yet again.
Yeah.
And this time, instead of before the shooting even begins, Greedo says,
"He's got a filthy mouth."
You know what? To your point about what that means, they do not put a subtitle. So Greedo's entire conversation, as you know, has the translation, but McClunky.
There you go.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting because ultimately this writer, Brian Young, on Twitter, pointed out that Sebulba says this same phrase to young Anakin in Phantom Menace. In that film, they do have a translation, and it's something like, "This will be the end of you."
Yes, because they didn't want to put the actual translation on the screen.
But why wouldn't they put it on the second one unless they wanted to imply, unless it was an error, but unless they wanted to imply, like you said, maybe it meant something stronger.
I think it meant something stronger.
Yeah, I like your idea about that better. Anyway, Greedo says that, and then they both wind up shooting around the same sort of time again anyway.
Yeah, but don't you, the weird neck thing too.
Right. Yeah, I think that might have been cut. They made it a little less dramatic now.
No, because it looks like he's like dancing like an 80s rap star.
Yeah. It's like those characters on SNL.
Yeah.
Don't hurt me.
Yeah.
Again. Okay. In another bit of 80s/Star Wars news, we learned from an article in from Entertainment Weekly, an exclusive, they say. James Hibbert interviewed Dennis Muren, who was one of the special effects gurus who helmed groundbreaking effects that brought A New Hope and subsequent Star Wars films and subsequent many science fiction films, fantasy films that Industrial Light and Magic have worked on to life. I had a lot of nouns and things in there before I got to the concluding preposition.
That's, we talk on the show, so that's what we do.
Okay, that's good. You're getting your money's worth, which is because the show's for free. In any case, he indicated that a couple of changes that I thought were interesting about the trench run at the end of A New Hope. Well, one of them was that originally it was conceived as having 3 trenches that they had to fly through before they got to the exhaust port, and the trenches would narrow as they went along. The idea would be that it would heighten the sense of tension because you have to navigate in a smaller sort of area now, etc. He said that they wound up changing this because it seemed the most exciting to have the narrowest one, so let's just do that. Also he said that having the bigger ones gave you less of a point of a reference from our audience to see that how fast they're flying through these things.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't necessarily see the sides as well. And the other thing that came out of this that I thought was interesting was that I've always thought as a kid, and the way it's cut, it seems this way, and Dennis Muren says, I know it seems that way, but it's a movie, that they fly through the largest trench, which is around the center, they call it the Meridian Trench, to get to the exhaust port. Turns out, no, they don't do that. That's the trench that the Falcon is taken through when it's sucked in by the tractor beam. But no, that trench is way too wide. No, it's actually a trench that's on the northern part of the Death Star.
Which is fine by me. Because the highlight of that is when he's like, I don't need this thing, and he just kicks their guidance system off, and they're like, hey, man, you okay up there?
Like, why did we let a guy who has no piloting experience...
Didn't he say something about shooting frogs or something right before we put him in this thing?
We put him in whatever the currency is, $1 billion credit ship that's going to get blown up?
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, use the Force, Luke. Now, we could talk a little bit later about it, how Marshall Lucas's contributions to the film made this scene even better, but I'm going to save that, see where we're going for later. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to talk to you about with regard to 80s/Star Wars news is that there was an interview in Rolling Stone. J.J. Abrams was interviewed to talk about the new film, but he also answered many questions, and some which I thought you might find interesting. One was he addressed the criticism that The Force Awakens is too close to the original first trilogy, in particular, A New Hope. Some people say it's just a reboot of A New Hope.
It's not a reboot. It's a connection for taking the past into the future, because you have all the old characters, you have the new characters, and a familiar Death Star, the whatever they call it.
Starkiller?
Starkiller, which was the original part of the original title for the thing.
That was Luke's original last name.
Yeah, he took a lot of tie-ins so that they could move forward, but kind of a, hey, past, we're not forgetting you, so here's the tie-ins.
I'm surprised you didn't have a problem with it. I thought you'd...
I like that movie a lot.
Oh, okay. All right, I must be misremembering your impressions of that versus The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi is the one I don't like.
But you're right. He said exactly the same thing. He said that, quote, the idea was to continue the story and to begin this with a young woman who felt like Luke Skywalker was a myth, and to tell a story that was not just history repeating itself, but a story that embraced the movies that we know as the actual history of the galaxy.
Makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And that didn't, I actually appreciated how he did a similar thing with the Star Trek movie, the first one, where he took elements of the old and moved it into a new, sort of era, a new character or a new generation of actors, etc. The second one, not so much. That was terrible. But
disagree.
Okay, well, that's a whole other show. Yeah. Somehow we'll crowbar that into Wrath of Khan, the original was in the 80s, so we can get an episode out of that.
Yeah, we can get something out of that.
Okay. So in any case, it didn't bother me as much in this film because, like you said, I appreciated that he was bridging these different generations.
Yeah.
And not generations of characters, but generations of moviegoers, too.
Oh, yeah. He's got to tie it in for not only us old guys, but all these young kids. So he's got to make it somehow exciting for everyone.
Yeah.
Because they, the Death Star and all that stuff to them is new.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah. I was cool with that one.
Yeah, and those are the kids you want clamoring for the new, Ray toy. And
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Poe Dameron. They're not going to be clamoring for a 70-year-old Han Solo or...
Can you imagine him playing with that? Wait for me, Chewie.
He's got the plastic gray hair. Yeah. And it's either the big head Han or the small head Han, but with gray hair.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Okay, so that's all that I wanted to touch base with you on 80s News.
Dun, 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 dun. Ack. And as usual, please like, subscribe, share, comment, review, and rate the show because it helps us out in the long run.
Yes. I see you testing your memory now.
I'm working on my memory with this one. And also... for the rest of this episode, please go to our Facebook page.
Yeah.
And we have a smart link there now. So it will take you to the part of the internet that will give you your best listening pleasures.
If anything, our podcast is an arc with you as the protagonist, where we see your journey from someone who insisted the show be recorded on VHS tape originally to someone who knows what a smart link is.
Yeah, well, I'm not happy that I know what a smart link is because I don't think it benefits me in any way. But it does. It does benefit our listeners.
Yeah, and
because I can hear the show while I'm sitting here.
Yes,
I don't need a smart link.
So I'm the smart link. You're like, I'm the smart link. So in the very least, though, I think that shows our show has been a success. That your growth, your personal growth.
I don't know about my personal growth, but the show's doing well.
Yeah.
And if you would, I'm actually on the audio part of this, I'm going to rewrite the new Star Wars movie for JJ, and I'm going to give you how this should have been written and done. But I just don't have time on the camera left to do that here.
Yeah, so. And when after you hear that, you'll be able to see the new movie next week and then see how many of Ray's ideas may have been similar to J.J. Abrams.
Or would my movie have been better?
Oh. Ooh. Okay, we're going to have a follow-up after to ask those two questions.
Yeah.
Anything that JJ touched on that's the same as yours, your ideas, and whether yours would have been better ultimately anyway.
I agree with that.
All right, cool. So check out this week's episode on your podcast app that you love, and we'll see you there.
Yep. See you later, YouTube.
Okay. Bye.